Media is no different. Podcasting is no different. But the difference here is as your show grows, the amount of work doesn't necessarily need to, while your
Right.
incentives to do that show are growing. Think
Mhm.
about that for a moment. If you're doing a weekly show, okay, let's say you're doing 50, 52 episodes a year. Now, let's say you're making nothing right now. Let's say next year you're making 10,000 in advertising. You're still only doing 52 episodes.
Welcome to the Expert in You podcast, the show for professional entrepreneurs, experts, authors, speakers, coaches, and consultants who are ready to elevate their business, expand their influence, and boost their bank accounts. Join us as we dive deep with industry-leading experts who share their top strategies, invaluable insights, practical tips, and personal experiences to help you achieve extraordinary growth and success. Whether you're looking to sharpen your skills, stay ahead of the curve, or find that competitive edge, this podcast is your ultimate resource for unlocking your full potential. So tune in, get inspired, grab your coffee, and let's unlock the expert in you. Hey, welcome back to another show. I have Adam Torres with me today. He is the co-founder of Mission Matters Media. Adam, welcome.
Oh yeah, and the newly best-selling author of 1 billion
I
podcasts.
know. We're
Yeah,
going to
come
talk
on.
about that. This show is going to be all around podcasting. And
Oh, I came to the right place.
and here's why I really want to dive into this because I recently did some research and found
Mhm.
out that organic marketing is now it really is going to be the play in
Mm,
2026 as more and more people enter the market, as AI takes over more and more. People are looking for trusted experts. They're looking for authenticity. We've seen this already in the
mm.
last several years, but it's going to be even more important in 2026. And the people that don't rise up and elevate their business and start doing this
Mm.
are going to be left behind and they're going to be fighting at the bottom. So I'm excited to talk about this because, I've been podcasting for, I think I'm going on 5 years.
Yes, congrats. That makes you a pro.
Well, it's been a lot of hours.
Hmm.
That probably thousands of hours on stages, no, like podcasting stages and media, YouTube and all of that. So yeah, it's super fun. I actually find it fun to do in my business, and I love
Hmm.
to build my business at the same time. But enough about that. I want to talk about you because you just had a book come out called 1 Billion Podcast.
Yes.
Why don't you just dive into it,
All
Adam? Tell
right.
us about that.
So the thesis, Anne, here's the thesis. It's really simple. I was coming on all these shows and I did this year I just started guesting and I'd always get this question. I'd be like, well, aren't podcasts saturated or isn't the market saturated and this and that? And I got so fed up with this question only because it's just completely wrong. I don't even agree with the premise of the question. If anybody was really digging or knew the numbers or the growth or any of this stuff. So I started doing a little bit of research out there and I realized I've never heard anybody else write on this topic. I've heard them write on podcasting. I haven't heard them write on why now is the perfect time and back it up with evidence and also with the progression of comparing it to some of the other growth in other platforms. So the thesis in the book is simple. I go through and I prove why now is the best time to start a show.
Give us the 30,000 foot view there. What are
I'll
some
give I'll
main
give you one.
topics?
I'll give you one. Let's talk about the current state of podcasting. We have about 4 million podcasts in existence, give or take, depending on where you get your data from. YouTube over 150 million channels, depending on where you get your data from. Now, why is this? Is YouTube that much better than podcasting? Is it this other thing? I'd argue no. In the book, I talk about if we think about even when these started, YouTube started with what was called their partner program. And in their partner program, what it meant is a creator like you and I could go on there, we put up a video, and we don't have to worry about selling advertising. We don't have to worry about like what's next. All we have to worry about is views. How many people can get to watch it? So that type of advertising is known as dynamic advertising. In podcasting, it never worked that way. Podcasting grew out of radio, really. So if you think about podcasting, there was no partner program, so to speak, for all of podcasting. There wasn't anything like that. So if you were to start a show, and all the creators out there that know, that have shows, they know if you started a show, guess what? You're responsible for going out and selling advertising. Now, how are you going to do that for a small show? The answer is you're not. It's not going to
Right.
happen. And then so that's one layer. Let me add one more layer to that, Ann. Let's say that you were nice enough and lucky enough to sell some advertising. So now you're doing what's called a host read ad. So you're reading the ad on your show. So that's what's known as baked in. So what happens after you sell that ad and you do that show? It's done. Unlike with
Over.
dynamic advertising or with YouTube, when an advertiser's done, that was automatically put on your show. So when that's run its course, and again, then what happens? YouTube puts another ad on there, so you can continue to monetize on an episode that you did years ago, and still make money and do it passively. So that didn't exist really in podcasting until the last few years. And based on the advent, or I should say, the wide adoption of dynamic advertising for podcasting now, that makes up, depending where you get your numbers, over 80% of revenue for creators in podcasting. And think about it, and that just came around. Podcasting's been around for 22 years. Now the number one source, really 80%, numbers don't lie, for that revenue for creators is coming from dynamic advertising, something that hasn't existed widely to where everybody could get involved and use it. So I would argue we're in like literally like year one of YouTube, if I wanted to juxtapose for podcasting with 4 million podcasts. We're like in year one, maybe year and a half. So podcasting, forget everything that you thought you knew. Now is really the gold mine for creators. And in 1 billion podcasts, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so good. And it's going to be even more important as the markets get more competitive.
Mm,
It's even more important that you're doing these types of things because let's face it, 99% of your competitors will not. So
yeah.
when you play at the top of your industry like this, at the top of your market, you are going to
Mhm.
be the one that's going to be sought after, get the business, get paid more, all of
Yeah.
these things. I mean, we see that with really with every niche where there are top players and then everybody else is
Mhm.
fighting at the bottom, right? So
Yeah, my good buddy Stephen Mead, he's known as the Bullseye Guy. He taught me that the benefits of the community roll up to the organizer. So if you're a podcaster, I like you to reframe your thought process around your show and to think of it more like a community that you're building around your show, which is exactly what we've done at Mission Matters. And the benefits of that community, it's not like there's no hard sells or this or that. Like you throw an event, you have a product, you have other things that are of value that your community is asking you for. You create it, and guess what? People buy, and that's what you call business. So the benefits, if you're going through the trouble of doing a show, and I say trouble because it's work. It's not. It's
it's
definitely
work,
in
it's
my
time.
opinion, the
Yeah.
easiest work you're gonna ever do in terms of like content creation, especially if you're doing an audio only show. You have a fancy like setup on your end. You're good. You're great in front of camera. You're nice dressed. That takes time. My first show, and I don't even know if I could call it a show. You could have called it recorded conversations on Adam's cell phone that were uploaded and unedited. My first 300 episodes were not edited, and we built an audience from it.
I was
Not
going
even
to say,
edited. Yeah.
actually, people do think they have to do things the hard way to get started,
Hmm.
and you really don't. You can start a show very, very easy, and you don't have to put a lot of effort or time into it, but you do have to have a good strategy behind it.
Yeah.
To me, that's where you start. Don't worry about all the other stuff. That will come,
Yeah.
that can come with time, but you do have to have a great strategy and know the direction that you want the show to go and know what you want the end result to be. Because there are
Hmm.
lots of ways to utilize a show, many
Yeah.
ways. And
And I agree with you. Like that's if you're, and I say this nicely, Ann, but that's if you're fancy and you're really smart on business and strategy and marketing like you. I was none of those when I started, just to be really, really clear. Because sometimes people, when they watch things like this, it's okay, it's easy for them to say, oh, well, you can say it, or oh, but you're polished, and oh, you're in front of camera, and oh, you can do this. And it's like, but no, all the things that you mentioned, Ann, I agree. If you have that in you, great, do it. But if you don't, just record and upload because I'll tell you, I didn't know. My first show, I didn't even want to launch. My first interview was the other co-founder here, Chirag Cigar, and he said, and the only reason why we launched that show is because he's like, something we gotta do a podcast. This is what we're doing, and I'm like, well, who's gonna do it? He's like, I'm not doing it. Do you want me to? Like, he works on our partnerships and things. He's like, do you want me to do it? And I'm like, he's like, no, you're doing it. You don't want me. I got to focus on what I'm doing. I'm like, all right, well, I'll do it. Well, you're going on the show. I didn't know anything about it. It took me like 10 minutes, if that, to launch. I literally can't make this up. There's a original book that we had, which was a Money Matters Top Tips book, and that was our original brand before Mission Matters. And I literally took a screenshot of the book and I took a square because you needed a square upload,
Right.
and it was like literally a square like screenshot. If you look at the original podcast cover, I didn't even know what a podcast cover was. I was like, my face is on it, the name of the brand's on it, that's our podcast cover. It
That
matches the book. Wonderful. A square screenshot was my first podcast cover of a book that we released.
Oh, that's so good. That really does show how simple it is to get started. But one thing,
Mm,
one of the reasons why I really believe in a strategy is because I
yeah.
kind of found out the hard way. My whole first year of podcasting, I got
Mm,
from it. I got zero from it. I had a lot of great conversations and it was fun, but it got to the point
yeah.
where, okay, I'm not doing this for my health, right? I'm actually doing
Mm.
this to try to build my business. And
Oh.
so I found that frustrating I had to really take a step back. I actually rebranded it to Expert in
Mm.
You at that point. It wasn't originally called Expert in You. And I kind of found out the hard way about that. I do think most people don't think about the end result of their show.
Yeah.
And so that's probably why 80% of podcasts stop at what episode
Mm-hmm.
15 or something like that, because they don't really know what they want to do with it. And so I think that's why a
Mm.
lot of people start and quit because they're like, this is a lot of work and this is
Yeah.
time and energy. Even if you're paying somebody to do all the back end services, you've got money going out. So
Mm-hmm.
know going in all a strategy is knowing going in what you
Yeah.
want that show to accomplish. What's the plan for that? And that's all really a
I
strategy.
totally agree with you on that. And the way that I kind of lay it out in the book is you got to know what you want out of this. So you wanted to use it for your business,
Yes.
and to build your business. For others, I mean, I give a case and I talk about in the book about my mom, and I talk about she was a social worker 40 plus years. Now she's no
Mhm.
longer with us, taken very unexpectedly, tornado of all things. And I think about that, and we're going about a little over a year now. And I think about that, and for her, it wouldn't have been to build a business. It would have been legacy. Like she would have been helping. She worked with at-risk youth for 40 plus years.
Mhm.
So she would have been, talking to, those that are, she used to call them the least of these, those that are forgotten in this country.
Mhm.
And she would have been, preaching about hope. She would have been telling victims of abuse that, it wasn't their fault. She would have been giving people tools when it had nothing to do with business. So there's
Mhm.
different ways and things to
Yes.
think about for podcasting. So to me, I love a strategy. I'm all in on that. But the very simplest route, it's what do you want out of it? Like, what do you
Yeah,
want out of it? If
exactly.
your if
What's
your
the end result?
expectation
Mhm.
is because the expectation is what's going to get you. And then speaking of expectations, let's say that now you do know what you want out of it.
Mhm.
What are you willing to give up for it? Like whether it's time, whether it's money, whatever it is, because you can't just add things and expect it to not cost you anything. There's
Right.
opportunity cost. So what are you willing to give up? And then also start to think about it as a longevity play. So meaning like it's a marathon. And I talk about expectations in the book. And the problem with most podcasters, and this is where if you think about that whole like, I don't know, I've heard it from many different people, 24 or 26 episodes, whatever, then people quit, depending on where you get that data. If you think about it from that point, the reason is because most people are sprinters. They're thinking about this as a sprint. And I'd rather somebody do one episode a month for the rest of their life than for them to do, a weekly show for 3 months and then quit. Do one
Mhm.
episode a month the rest of your life. It's so cheap, so easy to do, but just settle in. Just like add it
Right.
into your lifestyle. Like this is just what you do and let it absorb into your lifestyle. And some people that do that, they're going to create generational wealth over time because media compounds. I'm only 9 years in this
Right.
game. Like, and I look at what's happened to our numbers and how things work and everything else. And I'm like, I'm a baby. I'm an ant in media. Like, come on, the greats, they did it 30 plus years. So if I'm going to say
Yes.
that I'm going to have a career in anything, just period, any career in any industry, you're talking 30 years to get to a certain level of expertise to be, on top,
Right.
period. Media is no different. Podcasting is no different. But the difference here is as your show grows, the amount of work doesn't necessarily need to, while your
Right.
incentives to do that show are growing. Think
Mhm.
about that for a moment. If you're doing a weekly show, okay, let's say you're doing 50, 52 episodes a year. Now, let's say you're making nothing right now. Let's say next year you're making 10,000 in advertising. You're still only doing 52 episodes.
Right. Same
Let's say
same
the
amount of
next
work.
year,
That's
5 years,
right.
even if it's 10 years down the line, let's say you're making $100,000 now a year in advertising or partnerships or other things like that. You're still only doing 52 episodes. When you think about it that way, I just don't know
Yeah.
another thing that like because it's a set schedule. It's a rhythm. It's something else. There's not another expectation like maybe on some other platforms where it's like, oh, okay, we got to do more brand deals, more partnerships, more of this, more of that. No, you just do your show. It's a weekly show you release every Tuesday. Settle in that you're going to do that for the rest of your life, and you're good. You're going to create generational wealth if you do that.
Hi, friend. I have an exciting announcement. I hope you're enjoying this episode of Expert in You podcast, but I have to ask you, have you checked out the latest issue of Expert in You magazine yet? It's jam-packed with rich content, powerful strategies, inspiring stories, and so much more to help you elevate your business and personal growth. Don't miss out. Go grab your digital copy now and join our community of experts making a difference every day. Go to expertinyoumagazine.com and check out your digital copy today. Transform your expertise into success with Expert in You magazine. It's not just a publication, it is a movement. I have a question too, Adam. Do you recommend to your clients that they also do video, or is it just audio? What is sort of your recommendation there? I'm always a believer
Yeah.
the more you have out there, the better. So if you're going to do it, do
Hmm.
it on video and then strip the audio. What is your
Yeah.
recommendation?
So we actually have a podcast network, Mission Matters Podcast Network, and we have over 40 shows that we own and produce and distribute. That's outside of our normal podcast business. And what I mean by normal podcast business, we call it our podcast agency, and that's where like business owners come to us, entrepreneurs, and they say, "Hey, launch a show for us,"
Mhm.
and then we help them launch it, all that other stuff. We launched over 250 shows. So I'm only giving you that context so that you can understand that not only do I believe what I'm going to say, but I also vote with my money. With my money, I'm not talking about for fun. I'm not talking about with for branding. I'm not talking about looks good. I'm talking about money, advertising, and I'm talking about numbers, and I'm talking about building a platform that you need at least one big platform. Do
Yes.
I want to compete with 4 million podcasts, or do I want to compete with 150 million YouTube channels?
Hmm.
When somebody reads my book, it's going to sink in if they're doing this as a business. It's going to sink in. Why do I want and now for the branding part of it, I'm all for it, but I'm not going to invest in my host branding. Why?
Hmm.
I don't make
Yeah.
any money from that. So I'm talking, so that's a media side of Adam. So that's
Right.
how I vote with my dollars. And then I'll throw something else out there. Now, this was by accident purely, and this is in retrospect. So I don't want anybody to think that I have all this strategy or I'm that smart because I'm not. So it's fine. But when I started, I was so scared. I couldn't even turn on the camera. You turn on a camera and I go blank. I did over 1,500 interviews on audio only before even doing a single video interview that I put on the
Wow.
podcast.
That's amazing.
So just to put that in perspective, by accident, I built a base on audio. I didn't
Uh-huh.
know if I would have been doing what everybody else is doing, like, oh, let me do video, let me do this, let me do that, whatever, whatever, whatever. Like, come on. Now, I don't want to compete with every single thing on YouTube and all that time and everything else because ultimately, if you think about audio and what this format, number one, it came out of radio. And what do we know
Right.
about radio? People got to get used to your voice.
Hmm.
Takes time. I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter if you got the biggest celebrity in the world on your show tomorrow. It doesn't mean that the people that listen to that episode are going to subscribe. All all it means is you're going to have one episode that had
It's really well, right?
downloads. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
And then you're going to get depressed after when you release the next one and you can't follow it up because you don't understand your craft.
Hmm.
When you understand your craft and understand what you're doing, it doesn't matter. Like it takes all the pressure off. And in the book, I talk about this thing, and I call it the Goldilocks dilemma. And so Goldilocks and the three bears, right? Like
Uh-huh.
the porridge. So it's too cold, it's warm, it's got to be just right, or it's too hot. Well, with podcasting, I call it the Goldilocks dilemma of podcasting. When a host creates this complicated show with all these bells and whistles and this video and all these other things, which I'm not against video. I have video. I have a YouTube channel. Everybody that's listening that's like, oh, this guy doesn't like YouTube. We only have like 8,000 or 9,000 subscribers on there. Mission Matters. You can find it. I got thousands, over 3,000. I think we're approaching 4,000 videos on YouTube. So I do video, but I'm talking about where somebody's going to have the benefit and the advantage. The gold mine isn't like starting a brand new YouTube channel tomorrow. The gold
Right.
mine is starting the podcast. So getting back to the Goldilocks dilemma of podcasting, what will happen is this, and I've seen it time and time again. Remember, we've launched hundreds of shows. So I'm not just talking from like my opinion. I'm talking from working with hundreds of podcast hosts. What happens is this. They have this idea, they created it. We launch a show, everything else. Business is doing good, that's kind of normal. That's why they finally got around to launching their show, right? They've been wanting to do this forever, right? Then one of two things happen. It can go normal for a while and then it's good. And then maybe business gets really good. Then what happens? Oh, well, now you don't have time to do this podcast, right? Because
Right.
business is hot, right? You're on fire and you got to capitalize on this. So now you don't have time. You spent this time and money and you built up this audience, but now you don't have time for it, right? Or perceived time. Or let's say that unfortunately business takes a downturn and then all of a sudden, well, now you can't do your podcast either. It's too cold, right? The business climate's too cold. So what does that mean? That means that
Sounds like a bunch of excuses to
you
me.
can't do the podcast. No, but
Yeah.
this is the dilemma. So what's the answer? The answer is to recognize what it is and to just incorporate into your lifestyle. Don't even play that game. You lose no matter what. The best case win for you on that is that things stayed normal and
Mhm.
stagnant, which is never going to happen because the only thing that's guaranteed is change.
Right. That's so
Goldilocks
good.
dilemma of podcasting.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
in the
that's
new
so
book.
good.
Come on.
I haven't heard that before, so I love it. And you heard it
Yeah.
first here.
It's all, and I tell people this all the time. We finished the landing page and I wrote one of the FAQs, and I'm like, for better or worse, it's all independent thought. You're not going to, I use zero AI to write this. And not that I'm against AI, I'm fine with it, all that good stuff. I'm definitely a proponent. We use it heavily in every piece of our business. But the only person that saw this book before it was released was the copy editor. It's 100% independent thought. So things like that, but when you read it, it's logical. People that have been in the business, not 9 years to write that.
Yeah, so good. So let's talk about monetizing a podcast. What are
Hmm.
the three best ways you have seen or that you might even teach people
Hmm.
on monetizing the podcast?
I have a whole chapter monetizing the smart way. And what I do is the only thing I go through is the way that I have Adam Torres have personally been able to monetize. And I go through the steps from in the exact timeline and continuum that I was able to do it myself. So the first thing is, and this is the one that I just didn't even know, Ann, you don't know what you don't know. When I
Right.
started this business, I didn't come from media. I was in finance. I was a financial advisor. So as a professional service provider, I didn't know that people weren't supposed to pay to come on shows. I had no idea. I didn't know that there was some stigma around and it's the most ridiculous thing ever. Let me show you the scam that I uncover in my book. And I don't know why more people don't talk about it. And by the way, before all the PR people out there get mad at me, we have a PR company. I have a PR center. We have people pay us to do PR every month on retainer before all the PR people get mad at me and whatever this, that. So here goes the scam that we've been sold, Ann. Here it is. If you pay to come on a show, then it's pay to play. If you hire a PR person to go pitch you to that exact same show and they get you on that show for free, then it's earned media. Either way, the
Mm.
freaking person paid. What are you talking about? It's the most ridiculous lunacy that's ever been told. but we all accept it like it's common fact. When you go to your dentist, Anne, do you have to pay?
For sure.
Does your lawyer work for free?
No.
That when you call them, do they work for free? So why would a podcaster need to do that for free? If you've built a platform that's large enough and that people have, it's a value exchange. So
Hmm.
if you built a platform, and when I talk about this, by the way, in the book, I go through and almost the entire chapter is done, and I never talk about what everybody else is talking about, which is the cost per marketing and how much for 1,000 downloads and this and that. That's garbage. You've been sold that too. Everybody's been sold that too. I make a lot of money from going. Well, let me give you the first one. So, number one is the way that we were first able to scale the show is people pay. There was a fee. Period. Like, period. And if anybody has a qualm about accepting a fee, well, you can say that right now, but then in 2 years, when you're not making any money and you quit, then maybe if you would have charged people, you wouldn't have quit. I'm just going to throw that out there right there. Especially for the small creators. Like we weren't charging huge fees or anything like that, but every little bit helped in the beginning. And remember, we were doing 15, I was doing when I first started between 70 and roughly my average was 70 interviews per week. So
Wow.
my record's 91 interviews in a week. So I never even considered the fact that I could do all of that and fund it and do everything else if I didn't charge. Period. And
Mhm.
guess what? We started. Guess how many downloads did I have when I started? The same as you, the same as everybody. How many?
Right.
Zero.
Mhm.
So the just the fact that people, and this is what I like about Expert in You and everything that you're doing as well with your magazine and otherwise, people, there is a shortage of content creators. There's more people out there, whether it's in the business world or otherwise, that need to tell their story than there are hosts. Period. I just told you there's only 4,000 shows, and all of them aren't even putting episodes out there. So I explain supply and demand in this book. And if you have any reservation or anything else like that, I tell hosts all the time this, and I share this one's not in the book, but I'm going to share this one with you, Ann. You know how you say you have the learning experience in the beginning? This is what I learned really quick. I learned that, and again, for all the PR people out there, don't be mad at me. You can be mad at me. Again, we do PR, but this is what I learned with the difference between earned media and pay for play and all these other fancy terms that people use. I learned this when I was doing all my episodes for free, like in the very, very beginning. I had like 100, I was being inundated, like 100 PR people trying to get people in the show, and I didn't have any downloads. It was a brand new show, right? As soon as I turned on, I think my first fee was like $50 a show, something like that. Very, very cheap. And it was just like, and I was literally just trying to hire another editor because we had so much content going on. It wasn't this huge amount of money that I was trying to make. It was just, dang, I need an editor. I'm doing this service. Why shouldn't people pay if they really have value? Here goes the funny part. The PR people all of a sudden didn't want to book their guests on the show. I had like 100 booking people. I mean, it was crazy.
Mhm.
Then you know how many stuck with me? Like three or four were willing to pay. And some of these people, I had interviewed 10, 20 of their clients, made them look like rock stars, used my time, talent, and resources to do their work.
Yes.
So this is the thing. And then when I went direct to consumer, me and the person coming on the show, they're like, "Oh, this is awesome. If only $50, I literally had people telling me I need to raise my rate because that's crazy. But that's
But
when
you
you're
didn't have
dealing
any
with
trouble
professionals.
charging. You didn't have any trouble charging for your show.
It's not that I didn't have trouble. It was that most people just don't ask enough. If anybody has trouble, that means they haven't asked enough people, or they haven't asked the right person, or they haven't asked the right niche. If you're
Yeah.
asking broke people, and I'm not saying you, Ann, by the way, when I say this, if you're asking broke people that want things for free, they're probably not going to be a good guest anyway. if you
Because
if
they have
you
nothing
ask
going on,
somebody
right?
and you ask
Right.
somebody, especially if you're just getting started, this is the way I see it, just period. You're just getting started, you need to make some money from it. You ask a seasoned entrepreneur and you're like, "Hey, I'm just starting this show, doesn't have a this is my pitch. Just starting this show. I don't have a bunch of downloads, a lot of reach. This is my background. I'm asking for a $50 fee to start to come on the show. Can you help me out?"
Hmm.
Who's not? If you tell me no, no, I don't pay. Some people did. No, I don't
And
pay to come on
some people
shows.
will say that I don't
And
pay.
it's okay.
You know,
It's okay.
yeah.
I'm not judging them. But when you're, especially when you're just starting and you're a new content creator, if somebody says no and they're like, and they pitch to come on your show, how funny are you looking at that person? Like,
Yeah.
what? you okay? Like you're just telling me all these accolades. I read your one sheet, like, and when we go to lunch, you asked me to lunch. Do I gotta pay? Should we split it? Like, can I
Yeah.
order an iced tea? What's up?
I always say that is the first indication of whether or not somebody is very successful. If they say, is there a fee?
Yeah.
When they say, is there a fee? I'm like, well, I mean,
Yeah.
how much do you think it would be, even if there
Yeah.
was, right? Like
Well, and let
it's
me tell you the other side of this, and this is the behind the scenes side. There's some huge content creators out there where there's a fee that's not advertised, but they're getting 50, $100,000 an episode.
we
So
know who
that's
some of
so
those
there's so
people
some of
are.
these
That's
can.
right.
So, but if you're so, and I say that I'm not in that position, by the way, just for everybody listening, like, and we still charge to come on the show. We have a bunch of different packages, but ours caps out normally as of the time of this recording at 1,000 an episode, and that's for and then in person in studio there's different prices, and then when I travel to events, like I just came back from Miami. I was booked for a gig there at the Moore Club. I have one coming up at the Sterling Club in Las Vegas, then back to Orlando, then to LA. So I'm just for those that want to be full times and professionals in the business, I'm just giving them that because you asked for multiple, and that particular, that's if you want to be full time. Like I say, I always say it's kind of like people are like, "What do you do?" I'm like a comedian. I have to go to all these other places and do this, and I got to go do gigs, and I interview people on stage in front of live audiences, all of that. Think about it just like a speaker. Speakers get fees for doing that. What I found is that a lot of people like that are up there in status, they don't want to do a keynote. The
Right.
president of your local bank doesn't want to do a freaking keynote. Like he doesn't like depending on who it is, you know what I mean? Unless that's his thing or her thing. But people don't want to do keynotes, spend weeks and this and that to like go accept some award and blah. They'd much rather sit down with a trusted source and somebody and an interview with them, just old school Larry,
Yeah.
like Larry King. They'd rather just sit down,
Yeah.
have a conversation, pick up their award and leave. So
Yeah.
that's where I fit in that market. So there's lots of different ways to when podcasters start thinking about what they're building to make money.
So good. Give one other way to make money.
Other way to think about it is the branding side of things. So partnership. So what I do and the way that I created some of these original packages, and one day I might do this. I don't know. I did put it in the book. This is my Hail Mary, and I was like, I put it in the book, and I said, if somebody ever wants me to launch this course or do this mastermind, I've done over 150 decks in pitching different ways to make money from podcasting, and we've generated multiple seven figures from strictly the podcast. Just to be clear, and we've never done it by being even a top 1% show. After 9 years, I'm only a top 2% show. So just to be clear. So for everybody that's listening, that's like, oh, well, this, that. No, in the book I talk about, I might be the world's worst podcaster because I've done over 6,000 episodes and I'm not a household name. It's okay. I do talk about that in the book though. But so the other way is when you start thinking about brand. So think about a brand activation. So one thing that you can do is you can do so when we do, I'll give you an example. Deal Flow, I have a Deal Flow Discovery Conference coming up, and they that big old conference, and they need, bottom line is this: local media is dead. Why is local media dead? Part of the reason why it's dead is because of what we talked about before, and them not being able to adjust for changing climates and different business models and ways to do it. They accepted the quote unquote earned media thing too, and they're gone. That's what it comes down to. So when you think about the brand and or branding, that alone, shooting an interview for a company, and I don't mean a testimonial, I don't mean anything like that. I mean shooting an interview and adding their brand to it. So you know how they have the collaborations where you see, Coca-Cola and then
Right.
or whatever it is, X, and then they have another brand next to it or whatever the collab is. Disney, you see Disney everywhere, right? Like they
Right.
do it all the time. So these huge companies are doing that. And so I thought to myself, I forgot which one I was looking at. It was like Andy Warhol X something. And in Uniqlo, I think it was. And I saw it and I'm like, I saw this little X and I was like, huh. Let's do that with my brand and see what happens. And so that is another way that I've been able to do it. And that's
Hmm.
also led to other partnerships. Like I'll give you it, like you're gonna see it. And if you're in the car, don't worry. I'm holding up a book and it's ridiculous and you can't see it in audio. And I know that's annoying, but I'll try to describe it really brief. So if you look in this, and what this led to is if you could see that coffee bean, I'm holding up a
Uh-huh.
book. It's inside so you can't see it because we're looking on a small video, but that's my head in the coffee bean. Arabica coffee. It's Arabica Coffee 1976.com. They roast over 10 tons of coffee a year. They have like 200 locations or something worldwide. And my noggin, this head, is funny as it sounds, like the Juan Valdez of the Midwest.
Oh my God.
And what did that come from? Brand.
Mm-hmm.
Brand. So your logo is a brand. So expert in you showcase, that's a brand. Your face is a brand. Like, so when you think about brand, that's another way, is what collaborations, what brand collaborations make sense. I just had one of my biggest ones in terms of size of company last year, and it was with MasterCard. Come on, get out of here. I'm a little baby podcaster. Are
Nice.
you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I can actually do something for MasterCard. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's insane. And again, for everybody listening, I'm not even a top 1%, top 0.5 or no Joe. You know what I mean? Like, we're not talking a huge, huge show, but
Showing
we're
the
talking about
opportunity
like,
there. Mhm.
and why? Supply and demand. In the book, I talk about it. There's only one me. There's only one you, Ann. If you're listening to
Right.
this and you're thinking about launching a show, there's only one you. So, like, whoever's listening to this that wants to launch a show, so period. Not everybody may want to buy you, but somebody does in
Mhm.
terms of the content that you're putting out there. Like, somebody does, and now your job is to create and then find those people that are going to be your clients, and that's no different than any other business, though. Period. So I don't know
Yeah.
where we got this like misconception of people are supposed to start beating our door down because we launch a podcast. No, it's a business. What are you talking about?
Right.
It's the same as any other business. I don't know where people got that idea.
Well, I
It's
can't wait to read your book, first of all. And this has been so much fun talking to you. I could talk to you for a long time. We could geek out on podcasting for a very long time, but I know I've already kept you longer than planned, but I thank you so much. Give everybody how they can get your book, and then we'll put
absolutely.
all your contact information
Yep.
in the notes so they'll get all that. But how can they
So
get your book?
go on Instagram, ask Adam Torres. You can have the digital copy for absolutely free. You click on the link in the notes. Again, ask Adam Torres on Instagram. Digital copy completely free. And if you want the paperback copy, you'll see it there too, and all that other good stuff. There's a
Very cool.
founder's copy that's signed and all kinds of other things there. So, but
Mhm.
ask Adam Torres. Click on the link in the bio, and you can grab everything.
So good. Adam, thank you so much for being on the show. It was so much fun to have you here.
You're the best, Ann. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for being here, and make sure that you subscribe and share it. Everybody needs to hear this. He gave away a lot of gold in this episode, and it was just so much fun to have him. You know, he really isn't giving himself enough credit for everything he has built. I know what he has built, and it is incredible, and he's downplaying it. So, but go grab his book for sure. Thanks, Adam, and everyone have a great day. Go rock your business. God bless you. The content of this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Although I share strategies, ideas, and success stories based on real experiences, results are never guaranteed. Every business is unique, and outcomes depend on individual effort, market conditions, and many other factors. By listening, you agree that I and my guests are not responsible for your results or actions based on the content shared. Thank you for tuning in today. If you're as excited as I am about scaling up your influence, business, and bank account, then I have just the thing for you. But first, make sure you subscribe to the show. Second, make sure you share it with someone you care about, because sharing is caring. And third, head on over to join me in my next free virtual exclusive workshop, where we'll explore proven strategies to boost your business and maximize your potential. Look, it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you're looking to take your business to the next level, my workshops are designed for you. So head on over to expertinyouworkshop.com to reserve your spot and get ready to transform your expertise into extraordinary success. I'm looking forward to seeing you there and helping you achieve incredible growth. Until next time, make sure you're always seeking the expert in you, and God bless. Have an amazing day.